Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. In the previous video, we started the topic of man's search for God. As usual, the link to the previous video as well as the book under study, The Philosophy of the Teachings of Islam, is given in the description below. In this video, we'll start to look at some of the attributes of God Almighty as described by the Holy Quran. So let's get started.
اسمعوا صوت السماء جاء المسيح
The name used for God in the Holy Quran is Allah. This noun is specific for God alone. It is not used to refer to anyone but Him. It also specifically represents all of the perfect attributes of God that have been mentioned in the Holy Quran. His Holiness, describing some of the attributes of God, states, God is one without associate, and no one else beside Him is worthy of worship and obedience. This affirmation is made because if He were not without associate, there might be an apprehension that He might be overcome by a rival, in which case Godhead would always be in peril. The affirmation that no one is worthy of worship beside Him means that He is so perfect and His attributes are so excellent and exalted that if we were to select a God out of the universe who would be equipped with perfect attributes, or were to contemplate in our minds the best and most exalted attributes that God should possess, He would be more exalted than all our fancies, whom no one can exceed, and than whom no one can be more exalted. That is God. To associate anyone in whose worship would be the greatest wrong. Then he said, He is the knower of the unseen. That is to say, He alone knows Himself. No one can comprehend His being. We can comprehend the sun and the moon in their entirety, but we cannot comprehend God in His entirety. Then he said, Alimu Shahada. That is, He is the knower of the seen. That is to say, nothing is hidden from Him. It is not to be imagined that He should be unaware of anything. He has every particle of the universe within His sight, but man does not possess such comprehensive vision. He knows when he might break up this system and bring about the judgment. No one else knows when that would happen. It is God alone who has knowledge of all those times. His Holiness explains that one of the fundamental attributes of God is that He is Rahman, which is loosely translated in the English language as the most gracious. What this actually means is that before the coming into being of animates and before any action proceeds from them, out of His pure grace and not for any other reason or purpose, nor as a reward for any action, He makes due provision for everyone. As for instance, He brought into being the sun and the earth and all other things for our benefit before we even came into being and before any action had even proceeded from us. This divine bounty is described in the Holy Quran as Rahmaniyat. The next fundamental attribute which manifests itself in the natural order of the universe is that of Rahim, which is also loosely translated as the ever merciful. What this actually means is that He rewards righteous actions richly and does not let anyone's actions go to waste. That is, that when the faculties that have been granted to us through His attribute of Rahmaniyat are utilized in their proper place and occasion or time, the attribute of Rahimiyat enables unlimited progress. God Almighty is then described in the Holy Quran as the Master of the Day of Judgment, meaning that He keeps the recompense of everyone in His own hand. He has full control over it. He can forgive whomsoever He pleases out of His sheer mercy and is not bound by the dictates of any corporal law, neither does he require any sacrificial lamb to do so. Similarly, he brings about the ultimate result of our actions and prayers and has not appointed any other agent for the governance of the heavens and the earth, as though he has withdrawn from it altogether after having created it, being no longer concerned with it at all. Now, these are the fundamental four attributes of God which govern all other attributes, which exceed 99 names in the Holy Quran that we know of. Now, speaking about the condition of false gods, His Holiness explains, "Surely those on whom you call instead of Allah cannot create even a fly, though they combine together for the purpose. And if the fly should snatch away anything from them, they cannot recover it therefrom. Weak indeed are both the seeker and the sought. They esteem not Allah with the estimation which is His due. Those on whom you call beside Allah cannot create even a fly, though they should all combine together for the purpose. And if a fly should snatch away anything from them, they cannot recover it therefrom. Their worshippers lack intelligence, and they themselves lack power. Can such as these be gods? God is one who is more powerful than all those who possess power. He is the mighty, who is supreme over all. No one can apprehend Him or kill Him. Those who fall into such errors have not a true concept of God's attributes." In Islam, we are taught that true worship is our raison d'être. The purpose of our life is to emulate the perfect attributes of God, keeping in mind His absolute unity, to achieve balance by doing so, something that some may describe as achieving flow in life or their ikigai. His Holiness explains, "To believe in the unity of God correctly, without the least deviation, is the justice that is due from a man towards his Maker. We have set out the moral teachings of Islam from the Holy Quran, the basic principle of which is that there should be neither excess nor deficiency. It is the characteristic of a moral quality that it does not exceed or fall short of its appropriate limit. It is obvious that virtue lies in the middle of two extremes. Only that habit which seeks to establish itself in the middle promotes a high moral quality. To recognize the proper place and occasion is itself a middle. For instance, if a farmer does his sowing too early or too late, he departs from the middle. Virtue and truth and wisdom are the middle, and the middle is appropriateness. In other words, truth is always in the middle of two opposing falsehoods. There is no doubt that watchfulness for the proper occasion keeps a person in the middle. Keeping to the middle in relation to God means that in expounding divine attributes, one should not lean towards negating divine attributes, nor describe God as resembling material things." Bringing us to the end of today's dars. This is a very vast topic indeed, which His Holiness has explained in much more detail in the book under study. So I would highly recommend that you do read those passages for yourself to get an even better understanding of the concept of God as described by Islam. As mentioned before, I have linked the book in the description below, the book, The Philosophy of the Teachings of Islam. Make sure to click the bell icon so you can be notified of future episodes. And also please do subscribe, like and share this video so that we can enable as many people as possible to benefit from the treasures left behind by the Promised Messiah alayhi salatu wasalam. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.